The man striking these coquettish poses is none other than the king of Sparta. To resist the Persian emperor's massive army of 300,000, he has summoned 300 brave Spartan warriors, striding with captivating steps, to march towards Thermopylae. They are the bravest of all Spartans. In Sparta, every newborn baby faces a selection process.
Are you my mama? Because I'm ready to suckle a teat.
Creatures like this green-skinned monster who spit water randomly don't even need to be considered. They should be kicked directly into a mass grave for humane extermination. Ordinary babies are adopted by Special Agent Couple Brad. Only those babies who are born with overflowing testosterone and possess 8-pack abs are considered perfect Spartans. Purebred Spartans must undergo brutal training from a young age. After turning 10, Spartan children are cast into the cold wilderness for a survival test, surviving on wild hot dogs to stay alive. The most dangerous challenge is encountering penguins. Not only are penguins fierce, but they also enjoy attacking humans, and hardly anyone survives a penguin attack. Luckily, this particular penguin is quite dim-witted and got stuck in a crevice. And just then, the male protagonist discovers a wild trident hanging on the rock wall. You could say it's quite a coincidence. After this epic battle with the giant penguin, Leonidas successfully proves he is the most formidable Spartan warrior. As a result, Leonidas is crowned king, and the soldiers bow to him, while the most beautiful women in the city are at his disposal for choosing. Leonidas immediately sets his sights on the most beautiful woman, expressing his love to her. The woman marked him with a series of numbers.
What's that?
The combination to my chastity belt.
Not long after, their son is born, and the happiest moments for Leonidas are spent in blissful father-son time. There is no doubt, the child is undoubtedly his own. However, happy moments are often short-lived. Just as father and son establish a bond, a Persian envoy suddenly arrives. The Persian envoy informs Leonidas that the Persian king has already conquered other nations, and Sparta is their final target. If they surrender now, the Persian king will treat them well. The men will be sent to build the pyramids. The women will be slaves, and the children will be left to produce sneakers in sweatshops. Otherwise, the million-strong Persian army will sweep through the land tomorrow. As Leonidas turned his head in contemplation, the arrogant envoy forcefully kissed the queen.
What? You came on to me.
What the hell?
Did not? Dog.
This is Sparta!
This sets Leonidas off completely. Leonidas kicks the Persian messenger into a deep well, and the messenger's soldiers can't help but look into the hole. Leonidas also thoughtfully sent him down. Leonidas then hit the flush switch, and the few people who fell into the deep well were just flushed away as rubbish. Leonidas knows that with this act, he will soon face the Persian emperor's 300,000-strong army. He immediately orders captain to select elite soldiers from the village to prepare for battle. Following Spartan tradition, they must consult a seer before going into battle. So Leonidas steals his wife's cosmetics to bribe the prophets. The prophets are delighted, and their way of divination is to have the most beautiful girl in Sparta invoke the gods. You can tell the prophets have their unique taste. Then the prophet's response is quite straightforward. Leonidas has never believed in fate. Victory or defeat is determined by fists. And all those years in Sparta, all that money sent, all those people raised, wasn't it saved for today? Sparta is about to go to war with Persia. Leonidas knows that tonight is his last night with the queen. Now that you want to see what happens next, I'll satisfy your curiosity.
98!
The next day, Captain follows Leonidas' enlistment requirements, and they are only able to recruit 13 soldiers who meet the criteria. Facing the million-strong Persian army, it seemed like one spit from each Persian soldier could drown them all. With insufficient numbers, they resorted to drawing fake abs to make up for it. Soon, the Spartan warriors set off singing their war song.
Oh, no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, but I know I'll stay alive. I've got all my life to live.
After a long day and night of traveling, they arrived at the Thermopylae service area. They planned to take a break and order some takeout to regroup, but suddenly, Delio noticed the approach of the Persian army, and the atmosphere became tense as a battle was about to break out. Faced with the provocation from the Persian army, Delio couldn't help but charge forward. As the saying goes, teammates sacrifice for the greater good, although there was a hiccup before it even started. However, this had no impact on the morale of the Spartan army. Subsequently, the Spartan warriors started to engage in martial contests with their opponents. You read that right. They were competing with dance moves. Both sides were equally skilled. But in the end, Leonidas's impressive headstand move won unanimous recognition from the judges, and the Spartan team was declared the winner of the competition. The Immortal Legion kept rearing back in shame and eventually fell off a cliff in Massive. Not long after, the Persian emperor and his massive army arrived. The Spartan king curiously asked the Persian emperor, "Didn't you have 100,000 troops?" As soon as the words left his mouth, the Persian emperor had his soldiers bring out a large screen. The Persians were all about technology. At the same time, the Spartan queen learned that the situation on the battlefield was dire, and she immediately called upon her people to go and support. However, the elder intervened and instigated surrender among the masses. The queen, in a fit of anger, transformed into a venomous spider and punched a hole through the elder's chest, only to realize that the elder's body was made of sand. Physical attacks couldn't harm the elder. Even if he was crushed into powder, he would regenerate. This time, the queen got smarter and brought a vacuum cleaner. With this, the elder finally met his end. Finally, with the queen's sincerity, others also contributed funds and sent troops to support the battle. On the other side, King Leonidas had been fighting the Persian army for several days and nights, becoming exhausted. Luckily, there's a water bar next door where you can buy milk tea. Otherwise have died of thirst. But unexpected events unfolded as the Persian army discovered a secret passage bypassing Thermopylae, and they quickly surrounded the Spartan soldiers. With no choice, the Spartans could only rely on their superhuman physical fitness and combat skills to engage the enemy in a life-or-death battle.
Come and get them!
Formation!
Spartan always protects another man's rear. Adjust your sword, boy.
But I'm not wearing my sword. Attack!
The Persian king, seeing that the situation was unfavorable, quickly dispatched Ghost Rider to the battlefield. However, Spartan warriors were very fire-conscious and always carried fire extinguishers. Who would have thought that Ghost Rider would be defeated by a fire extinguisher? Seeing the tide turn, the Persian king called in the hot-tempered Rocky to join the battle. Rocky was really heroic and came up with a blood kill. It made Captain, who was on the sidelines, furious and in berserk mode. One punch puts Rocky bald, but Rocky backhanded Captain as if nothing had happened. Captain stumbles upon a dagger as he lies on the ground. He was about to pick up the knife when he noticed a gun nearby. In the end, he opts for the viral injection, which knocks Rocky out with one shot. Just as Captain is proudly showing off his championship belt, he is suddenly impaled by a spear. Leonidas, witnessing this, completely lost control and transformed into Grand Theft Auto. Persian emperor, realizing the fierceness of the Spartans, chose to escape, but he was tripped by something unexpected. On closer inspection, it turned out to be an energy crystal. The Persian emperor placed the crystal in his car and instantly transformed into a Transformers robot. This left the Spartan king terrified, wondering how they could defeat him. However, the Persian emperor had barely taken a few steps when his power cord was yanked, causing him to fall. Thus, the Persian emperor and the Spartan warriors perished together. It's a no-holds, barred spoof of the 300 Spartans. If you have a strong taste, you can watch the original film. But it is recommended to watch it on an empty stomach, otherwise you will easily laugh out of the overnight meal. Alright, that's where we'll leave it for today. See you in the next episode.